Good morning, everybody. So today is Thursday, March 11th, and we are on day 26 of Module 3 in Wit and Wisdom. We are almost to the end of Module 3. Can you believe that? And we'll have about a week of Module 3 after spring break, and then we will start Module 4. Sounds exciting. So I hope everybody had a great afternoon yesterday. Let's see. So remember our essential question, our big question for Module 3 is how can people respond to injustice? And then our focusing question, our middle-sized question, medium-sized question for the text about Sylvia Mendez is how did the Mendez family respond to injustice? And then today's lesson, the small question, the content framing question for today is, what is happening in Separate is Never Equal? And we are going to have a craft question today. Remember, that is our writing question. And it's, how does a sense of closure work with an exploded moment? So we talked a little bit about how a narrative needed closure yesterday, but today we're going to narrow it down and talk about how does it work with an exploded moment. So our goals for today, our learning goals for today, are to be able to identify the story elements in the text. Separate is never equal, okay, and be able to recount the story. And that just means the scape chart, the setting, the characters, the action, the problem, and the ending. Those are the story elements. All right, and so with that being said, make sure, please, that you have your knowledge response journal ready to go, because we are going to create a new scape chart today and look at a new exploded moment. So let's go ahead and go to the video. The video is super short today, guys, super short. Okay, here we go.
Welcome back, incredible thinkers. I'm Sue Sabella, your Great Minds teacher. Let's see what we need for today. Today we'll need Separate is Never Equal, Sylvia Mendez and her family's fight for desegregation, handout 21A, the scape chart, your journal, and a pencil. Please pause here to grab what you need and just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so we're not going to need handout 21A because that's this chart that we're going to make in our journal today.
Today, we're going to continue to study quotations from this text, and we're also going to look at them closely to see how they can help us determine or figure out what is happening in this text. As we moved deeper into this text, we learned that Mr. Mendez went around to gather signatures for a petition. He wanted all children, regardless of their skin color, to have the same opportunities for a bright future. As Mr. Mendez went around to the families to seek signatures for his petition, he heard these quotations. Although these quotations mean the same thing, they look differently and sound differently. The quotation on the left is in Spanish, and the quotation on the right is in English. The parents that Mr. Mendez talked to were afraid that they might lose their jobs if they supported the petition. So when he talked to them, they often said, "We don't want any problems." Please pause here to read this quotation out loud with expression. Pretend that you are a parent afraid of losing your job if you sign that petition. Read it that way. Just hit play when you're ready to try the quotation in Spanish.
Okay, so remember, you're going to have to pretend that you are a parent and you're worried about losing your job. And if you lose your job, you can't afford to pay for your kids to have food or new clothing or shoes. So you need to have like a sense of worry in that. Okay, so like we don't want any problems. So now you try. Good. Now let's try it in Spanish.
Listen carefully to the quotation in Spanish.
No queremos problemas.
Please pause here to practice reading this quotation out loud with expression. And remember, you're in charge. You can scroll back on the timeline as much as you need to listen again as you practice. Just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so this one's kind of hard. It's no queremos problemas. That QU in Spanish does not say qua, it makes a K sound, okay? No queremos problemas. So now you try saying it. Very good, guys. Nice try.
I'd like you to pause here to think about or to chat about this question. How do these two quotations help you figure out or determine what is happening in this text in this section? Just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so how does the quote, we don't want any problems, how does that help you understand what is going on? Okay, so obviously something is happening that that they think is going to cause a problem that's going to be bad for them. And also, again, what are these little thingies called here? Those are quotation marks. And when we see quotation marks, what do we know? We know that someone is speaking. And if there's more than one character speaking, that is called dialogue, which is just a big word for conversation.
How does a sense of closure work with an exploded moment? Please pause here to grab handout 21A, the scape chart, or you can set up your scape chart in your journal with also a page for thoughts, feelings, and actions that you can add to your exploded moment. Just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so right now, what you're going to do is you are going to go to page 152 and 153 in your journal. 152 and 153, and you're going to create your scape chart. Make sure you put today's date on the top. After you get this copy down, you pause the video, copy this down, and then go ahead and hit play, okay?
Now that you have your scape chart or your journal set up with a scape chart and thoughts, feelings, and actions, you're ready to begin writing an exploded moment. We're going to take a close look at the exploded moment process chart so you can follow each step in the process to be able to create a narrative based on an exploded moment. Let's take a close look at the first step. The first step in the exploded moment process tells us to reread sections of the text and look at pictures. I'd like you to pause here to reread pages 17 through 18. And just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so we need to pull open the book, 17, 18. Hold on one second. Stop sharing my screen so y'all don't have to look at my entire box here. Okay. I'm ready. Share my screen. Okay, so these are pages 17 and 18. It says, one day a truck driver overheard Mr. Mendez trying to convince a worker to sign his petition. You know, said the truck driver, you could file a lawsuit. The truck driver told Mr. Mendez about a lawyer named David Marcus, who had filed a lawsuit on behalf of people in San Bernardino and had helped them integrate the public pools there. At that time, not only were schools segregated, but also other public places as well, such as pools, parks, and movie theaters. Some businesses even had signs that read, "No dogs or Mexicans allowed." How bad would that be, guys, to be compared to a dog? Mr. Mendez decided right then and there to hire Mr. Marcus, even if it meant having to spend all of his savings to do so.
Now let's take a look at the next two steps in the exploded moment process. Number 2 says to fill out the escape chart. And number 3 says jot down ideas about thoughts, feelings, and actions. Now it's time to fill out your escape chart and to jot down thoughts, feelings, and actions. What was Mr. Mendez thinking? How did he feel? And what actions did he take? Please pause here to do this work now and just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so I'm going to put these pages back up so you can see them, okay? And what I would like for you to do is I want you to first try to do this on your own, okay? I want you make sure you use a pencil so you can erase it if you need to. I want you to try to fill out your escape chart on these 2 pages, on this exploded moment, okay? I want you to find the setting, the characters, the problem, the action, and the ending. Just on this moment right here, guys, okay? Not the whole book, just this moment, okay? And once you have finished your escape chart, I want you to do some thoughts, feelings, and actions on Mr. Mendez. Like, what was Mr. Mendez thinking? What was he feeling? What actions did he take? And then I want you to hit play and we will talk about it. Okay. So go ahead and push play. Push pause, do your escape chart and your thoughts, feelings, and actions, and then we will talk about it. Okay. So here is what I'm thinking as the setting. Okay. So says one day a truck driver overheard Mr. Mendez trying to convince a worker. Do we know? I mean, I know he is. Well, where do they live? What city do they live in? because it doesn't exactly say in this page, on this page, where they live. But what city are they living in now? Do you guys remember? They live in Westminster. So I'm going to put this setting is Westminster because he'd been going all over the city trying to get the Mexicans workers to sign his petition. Westminster. So that's our setting. He's in Westminster. Now, you may have put San Bernardino because you saw San Bernardino in that paragraph, but remember, the truck driver is telling Mr. Mendez about something that happened in San Bernardino. They're not actually there right now. So who did you put as the characters of this small exploded moment? Okay, obviously, Mr. Mendez is one of the characters in that moment. And then who else did you put? Yeah, the truck driver. He's a pretty important character in that moment. So we've got Mr. Mendez and the truck driver. Okay, so let's go down to the problem. What is the problem? Again, just in this moment. So Mr. Mendez, he couldn't get anyone to sign his petition. They were worried that there would be problems. That's one of the problems. Okay, what's another problem? Well, they were worried about the problem. That's why they wouldn't sign it. So no one would sign the petition. They were worried about problems and they were worried about losing their jobs, right? Okay, so here we have no one would sign the petition, worried about problems, and didn't want to lose their jobs. Okay. Now, so because of that, what was the action here? Now, it doesn't necessarily mean what did Mr. Mendez do, because the action in this exploded moment, Mr. Mendez really wasn't doing it. Who was doing the action in this moment? Yeah, the truck driver's the one who did the action. And what action did he take? Yeah, he told Mr. Mendez about how this other group of people filed the lawsuit in San Bernardino and that he should do that too. So the action is truck driver told Mr. Mendez about filing a lawsuit. There's one of those words about with that schwa in it. What letter is going to start the word about, even though it says letter A. Okay, so the truck driver tells Mr. Mendez about filing a lawsuit. That was the action. So how did this small moment end? What did Mr. Mendez decide to do that ended this small moment? He decided to hire a lawyer. So Mr. Mendez decided to hire a lawyer. So there we have our ending. Oops. All right. So now let's think about what are some thoughts that Mr. Mendez could have had while this exploded moment was happening? What could he have been thinking? And remember, this page is really like your opinion of what Mr. Mendez was thinking, of what he was feeling. Now, the actions part is easy because we know that he decided to hire a lawyer. We know that his actions were that he tried to get people to sign his petition. So let's do the actions part together. So, Mr. Mendez tried to get people to sign petition. And then Mr. Mendez also decided to hire a lawyer. Mr. Mendez decided to hire a lawyer. Okay, so there are two actions that Mr. Mendez took in this exploded moment. Okay, so you are going to write down what thoughts you think he would have had and what feelings he would have had based on this small moment. Okay, so if you need to go back in the video and watch, or you can just copy it. Make sure that what you wrote is similar to what I have here, okay? If it's exact, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. It just needs to be something, similar, okay? That way when we do our writing, you'll be able to write your paragraph. All right, let's get back to our video.
You now have a plan for your exploded moment. When we meet again next time, you'll need your plan so you can create your narrative. So please be sure to hang on to it. And I will see you then, my friends.
Okay, so basically what Miss Sabella just said is you have to have this work done from today to be able to do your work tomorrow, okay? So you have to make sure you get it done today, okay? And that is all that I have for you today. So you're going to finish your scape chart and then upload a picture into the cat's rubbing her head on the screen. Say hello, Minerva. You're going to upload the photo of your 2 pages onto the Google slide. And that's all we've got for today. Today was a super short lesson. All right. So I will see you guys later for phonics. Okay. Bye. She's licking my fingers. I'm having a hard time with the remote.